Hey everyone, have you ever wondered how Netflix just knows what movie you want to watch next? Or how your favorite apps work behind the scenes? Well, today, we're pulling back the curtain on the secret language that powers so many of these tools, Python. And whether you're a total beginner or just curious about all the buzz, you're in exactly the right place. Okay, let's get into it. All right, let's kick things off with a little puzzle. Think about the apps on your phone, those spot-on movie recommendations you get, and all the crazy advances we're seeing in artificial intelligence. I mean, they seem like totally different worlds, right? But what if I told you they all share one powerful common backbone? Well, for starters, a huge chunk of the web is actually built on it. A lot of the websites and online services we use every single day, we're talking parts of Instagram and Spotify, are powered by Python. They use these things called frameworks, which are kind of like pre-built toolkits that let developers build these really complex apps fast. And then you've got the entire world of data. This same language is the undisputed champion in data science and machine learning. Seriously, it's the tool that helps scientists and analysts find patterns, make predictions, and basically drive the engine of modern AI. You know, like that recommendation engine that suggests your next favorite show? But it doesn't stop there. Oh no, Python is also a master of automation. People use it to write these simple little scripts that handle boring, repetitive tasks. Anything from organizing thousands of files on your computer to managing massive server networks for huge companies. So, that connecting thread between web apps, data science, and automation, you guessed it, it's Python. So, we've seen what it does, which is pretty amazing. But what is it really? Now that you know just how widespread this thing is, let's break down the fundamentals. At its heart, Python is what we call a high-level programming language. Now, don't let the jargon scare you. High-level just means it's designed to be super readable for humans. You're still writing instructions for a computer, but the commands look a whole lot more like plain English than a bunch of cryptic machine code. And here are a few key things that make Python so accessible. First off, it is completely free and open source. Anyone can use it, share it, and build with it without paying a dime. It's also cross-platform, which means the same code you write will work on Windows, a Mac, or Linux, no problem. And maybe most importantly, it's supported by a huge number of free libraries. Think of these as bundles of pre-written code that let you add incredibly powerful features without having to build everything from the ground up. That all sounds pretty great, right? But it still doesn't quite explain how one single language got so dominant in so many different fields. So what's the secret sauce here? It really boils down to these three things. First, it's famous for being easy to learn. Its simple, clean style means you spend way more time thinking about the problem you're trying to solve and less time fighting with confusing punctuation. Second, as we've already seen, its versatility is just off the charts. And finally, its massive community means there's a whole universe of free tools and support out there, so you're never really starting from scratch. And this chart just says it all, doesn't it? It shows you just how versatile Python is. You can see its use is spread all across these high-demand fields, with data science and web development making up a huge piece of the pie. It's not some little niche language for just one thing. It's a general-purpose powerhouse. And that means learning Python doesn't lock you into one career path. It opens doors to a whole bunch of them. Okay, let's move on and see how this awesome combo of simplicity and power actually translates into real-world impact. Because, it's one thing to say something is easy, but it's a whole other thing to see the results. This quote from edX really nails the appeal of Python. To put it in perspective for you, printing the phrase "Hello World" in Python is literally one simple line of code. In some other languages, it can take 3 or 4 lines of really complex syntax just to do that same basic thing. That's why so many top universities use it to introduce programming, because you get to build cool stuff faster. And that beginner friendliness has led to just massive adoption. According to a 2024 report from Statista, Python is the 3rd most used programming language among developers all over the world. This isn't some obscure academic language, it's a global standard. And it's not just for hobbyists either. As you can see, major tech giants like Amazon, Microsoft, and Red Hat rely on Python for critical parts of their business. But it's also used at places like Google, Pixar, and even NASA for everything from analyzing data to, space exploration. When companies like these invest heavily in a technology, you know it's a valuable skill. Okay, so we know what Python is and why it's so popular, but how does it actually work? How do those English-like commands you write actually make a computer do something? It's a 3-step process that's actually pretty simple when you break it down. Step 1, you write your code in a text file, which we call a script. Step 2, you run that script using a program called the Python interpreter. Now, just think of the interpreter as a translator. Its job is to read your Python code one line at a time. And that brings us to step 3. For each line it reads, it translates it into machine code, those raw instructions the computer's brain can actually understand and execute. It's this line-by-line translation that makes Python so flexible and so much easier to fix when things go wrong. So now that we've covered the what, the why, and the how, we get to the most exciting part, what comes next. Believe me, the path from knowing nothing about code to actually building your own programs is way clearer than you probably think. In the rest of this series, we're going to get hands-on. We'll walk through installing Python right on your computer, writing that classic Hello World program, learning the basic building blocks like variables, and then putting it all together to build your first real projects. Ultimately, that's what programming is all about, giving instructions. And Python is this simple, powerful, and universally respected language that lets you do exactly that. It's really less about being a math genius and more about creative problem solving. So I guess the only question left is, are you ready to tell the computer what to do?